such as Rudy Giuliani, former Senator Joe Lieberman. As Iran's deputy foreign minister this morning says this country will not renegotiate the nuclear deal reached with the six world powers, including the United States. Sources say President-elect Trump has received this hand-delivered letter. It's signed by 23 former top U.S. officials urging a new approach to Tehran. It calls on the incoming Trump administration to engage and work with the Iranian opposition, something previous administrations apparently haven't done. It is signed by a range of bipartisan officials such as Rudy Giuliani, former Senator Joe Lieberman, former Attorney General Michael Mukasey, and the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff under President Clinton, General Hugh Shelton, among others. It says, quote, President Obama expressed the hope that nuclear negotiations would induce Iran's leader to act with greater consideration of American interests. It is now clear that Iran's leaders have shown no interest in reciprocating. Iran's rulers have directly targeted U.S. strategic interests, policies and principles, and those of our allies and friends in the Middle East.
Let's make it clear what the real source of support for terrorism around the world. It's the regime in Tehran. They're the world's central banker. They fund Hezbollah, they fund Hamas, they fund plenty of others, and Hamas go to developing nuclear weapons. And I think what the signatories of this, and I think what I'm trying to say, and just to underline how bipartisan the group is, you don't see a lot of that in Washington. The group in the past 8 or 10 years, we saw what happens when people try to express their opposition. In the summer of 2009, the fraudulent election there, stolen for Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, the people went into the streets, the Basiji and the Revolutionary Guards Corps crushed them, the Obama administration.
What would the message be and reaction in Tehran be if Mr. Trump did reach out, or the opposition reached out and they had a phone call, or they met?
Just as I'm sure the Ayatollahs will not be happy at all for President Trump or members of his administration to talk to the Iranian opposition, the National Council for Resistance, that should not deter us. If anything, that should make us more interested in finding out what we can do to help the legitimate opposition in Iran, from whatever perspective they come from. After the Ayatollahs disappear into the ash heap of history, we can have elections.
In the letter itself calls for reaching out to the National Council of Resistance of Iran.
Yeah, I think this is a group that deserves very serious attention. They've got a platform for what their government in a post-Ayatollah Iran would look like, and it pledges, most importantly to me, a non-nuclear weapons Iran. It's open on the question of women's rights in a way, for example, the Ayatollahs would never even consider. It's led by a woman. So it has a lot of, I think, attractions for Americans who are looking for an alternative. We do not have to accept the Ayatollahs as the legitimate voice of everyone in Iran, because they are not. They are the true illegitimate regime.